welcome. You are watching another episode of Let's Talk About It. I am your co-host, Mr. William Mr. Burties, and today I'm very excited because we have a guest here who perhaps is my favorite. And for those who are reoccurring guests, we love you, but we want you back. But this one here is probably my favorite person to keep coming back. But before we introduce our guest today, we're going to introduce our co-host, Mr. Clinton James.
Yes, this is the co-host. Yes, co-host Clinton James, your local real estate broker here in San Diego. I always tell everybody, yes, we've taken over Taco Tuesday. It's Let's Talk About It Tuesday. Let's go. But I always want to let y'all know y'all can find me where y'all can find me. Y'all can find me in the corner working on myself, Lane and Spiners Drive. Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right, so let me tell you about Marshawn.
Let's go.
She she's a shift relationship strategist, a two-time Amazon best-selling author who helps black professional women step into their confidence, attract the right partner, and create relationships that truly feel safe and fulfilling. Through her books, digital courses, and group coaching, Marshawn guides women to gain clarity about who they are, the type of love they want, and the courage to ask for what they truly need and deserve. What they deserve, we won't talk about that. Her mission is personal. After divorce,
Harder, right?
bankruptcy, and rebuilding her life, Marshawn discovered the missing tools for choosing the right partner, honoring her own needs, and breaking free from cycles of unfulfilling relationships. Now, she's dedicated to helping black women do the same so they can stop standing in their own way. Get out the way, ladies. And co-create the extraordinary love and life that they truly desire. Marshawn, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back, Marshawn.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for having me. I'm
I
super
think,
excited.
I think you're one of those guests who was missed because we talk about you all the time.
do.
Man. We do.
We do.
We do.
And I'm just hearing from y'all then. What we doing? What we doing?
Hey, she's jumping right into it. Okay?
She wants to spice things up today. Yeah. That she's trying to help these women out here. All right.
Well, I know the topic is how to win love or what, like.
Yeah, the topic is how to find the right partner, how to find love.
Right.
And, I think a lot of it is standing in your own way. But before we get into that, welcome back.
Thank you.
Nice.
Good to have you. And before we get into today's topic, tell us what you've been up to the last couple years.
Oh man, I've been up to, as you already mentioned, coaching. So coaching is definitely a staple in what's been happening. Been on TV.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I've been in magazines
Okay.
and just putting myself out there. I've had conferences and just other like workshops and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So not only am I attending them to continue my own learning, I'm also creating the space to help the ladies out here.
Oh yes, these ladies, man.
Uh-oh now.
So I think the main question we want to ask is, what's up with y'all?
Wow.
That's a loaded question. Please give me a little bit more.
Okay, I'll put it like this. We was having a little pre-conversation
Right.
before the conversation happened, and the discussion was, women can definitely have an influence on a man's life,
Right.
and the more mentally mature she is, the better quality relationship she can have. And we were discussing the emotional maturity level between men and women.
Mm-hmm.
How women tend to be 10, 11 years ahead of men. I think you sent me an article saying women tend to mature at around 32, emotionally mature at 32,
Mm-hmm.
men at 43. But the discussion was okay, but that was before social media. So since social media, it seems like it has the maturity level for women and men, but the maturity level for women has definitely gotten older. So what's up with y'all?
Has gotten older or worse?
Worse, I would say worse.
Okay. So what's up with us in what way? Like,
How come y'all ain't getting married? There's a lot of beautiful, successful black women
Right.
out there who do say they want love, and there's a lot of men out there who will want to be their partner.
Mm-hmm.
So how come the relationship thing seems to not be working?
And I'll add to that. What we're seeing right now is this. I'm finding that what I'm seeing and hearing that most women are just, they're good. They just want to be with themselves, and they want to be with their girlfriends. You know, they'll trips. You know, like. But at the same
Brunch.
time, too, you'll find that a lot of women are not taking that path. You know, because remember back when in like what. I don't want to say back in the day sound like, you know, I'm dated, but like back in the day, my day. You know, but at the same time, you'll find that, remember, for like Gen Zs, we used to go to college, meet our mate, or meet them at church. That was a rite of passage,
Okay.
right? And then you'll be settling down, looking to raise a family. I know there's a lot of financial, social, and economic issues that actually play a part. We'll get into that. But we want to ask you, like, based upon your experience, because you in the depths, you in like the trenches with this, right? What is going on today that has changed the mindsets from, I mean, where it used to be where everybody's on a pathway for like marriage, for family, and just building a community. Now it's kind of like more independence. What is creating that?
So I think that there are a few dynamics that come into play, and one that comes to mind for sure is the selfishness of both genders.
Wait.
Yeah, yes. That's where we're going. There is a selfishness on both sides. The independence, or I know that we kind of hear this specifically from the women, like independent or strong black woman. All of those tropes that we hear are stereotypes, really. Secretly, I believe that they're deep down inside, both parties want more, but a lot of them don't really know how to forge them, if that makes sense. So let's go back to the selfishness, because a lot of us just want what we want when we want it, and there is not a lot of sacrifice put into it. We have these mindsets that, well, if this one don't work out, I'll just get a divorce, or we're not really qualifying them as best we can,
Right.
and asking the deeper questions. We're just going into it hoping that the relationship is going to go well, instead of like I said, asking the deeper questions.
Right.
And so it's like, well, I'm trying to, but I don't know how vulnerable or how much I can put myself out there with this particular person, because I've been hurt before. So there's the selfishness, but then there's also the past baggage,
The past traumas.
yes, that a lot of us are holding on to, and we haven't got the help for. And I know that's kind of a newer thing, specifically in our community, where more people are trying to get help and trying to be better.
Yeah.
And so the selfishness is the big thing for sure. And then just really not having any direction. And then to go back to what the numbers are saying as well. So the emotional maturity, in my opinion, as well as my experience, my opinion, but also from coaching the black women that I serve, the conversation has been the same, where I want to do this, or I want to ask the questions. I'm asking the questions, but I'm not getting the answer or the feedback.
Or they're not getting the answers that they want.
It could be a little bit of both.
Okay.
It could be a little bit of both. But I think when they're working with me, I'm advising them, if you will, to ask more direct questions.
Right.
Because I know women have a tendency to talk in circles.
Right.
And men want it to be more direct, straight to the point.
Right.
So I'm trying to get them to be more clear in the sentence structure, if you will, to ask the question directly.
Right.
And when they do that, they find that they get better answers.
Right. Because I mean, let's look. So we going from single. So now, kind of like, let's look at relationships now, right? Because we're seeing that with the movement of independence and being single and just wanting to actually the passport brothers. I don't know if you ever heard about that, right? So with all that happening, we see that it's also putting a lot of pressure on relationships. So that have already been established, right? Because we see that divorce rates are high, as you mentioned. You know, the first option when something goes wrong is, hey, let's go to divorce court. You know, let's have it get a divorce, right? So I think a lot of people are coming into relationships with a different mindset, right?
Yeah.
The expectations are not there, right? One of the things that for me that I wanted to point out is that during the relationship, we just had a pre-discussion that women have a power that I think a lot of them don't understand, the power words. Right, they're right, right, or they do understand it, and I've come to believe like this, and you tell me, and you're going to expound on it, right? I've come to believe like this, where there's no trust, even when in the beginning, right, and you go into a relationship, there's always going to be a form of manipulation, right? If there's no trust, there's going to be no manipulation consistently in that relationship.
Okay.
Right now, I would say it's on both sides, but because women have the power of words, because I think a woman's words, especially if you're raised by a mother, her words always poured into you, right? She made you feel like you could do anything in this world, right? So, I mean, in a relationship, men, I mean, I'm not saying men are not destructive as much as the words. Men tend to be physically destructive because men can destroy a whole family just by their actions, right? Women can destroy a whole family just by their words, right?
Okay.
So I want to hear from you, like, so
That you agree.
right? No, that you agree, but I want to hear your opinion on this one, because I mean, I think that's something that's not we don't discuss too much because we always hear the single woman, single women being pitted against single men, right? But also we have that in relationships, right? Which is the same. So what's your opinion on that, or what are you seeing in that?
Okay, so you said a whole bunch.
Right, I did.
So if you can give me a direct question.
Right, okay, I'll give you a direct question. Now, when it comes to words, what would you suggest in terms of making sure that the relationship is healthy, right? How would you suggest that in a relationship two people communicate with each other effectively? How would that look? What would that look like?
So, kind of cliche, but just the open, honest communication. So to expound on that just a little bit, it's okay. Say for instance, you are coming home, right, and you're really, really irritated,
right?
Or there's nothing wrong at all. You just don't feel like being a part of the conversation when you first walk through the door because you need to recharge.
Right. Men internal. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, so you walking through the door, you need to recharge, but she's been holding on to this conversation.
Right.
She's been planning it in her head.
Right.
And she really wants to get it out.
Right.
So instead of her communicating that she wants to have a conversation or asking, do you have the mental space to have such a conversation? Because for most women, it's not gonna be surface level, right?
Right.
So she should ask, are you mentally available to have a conversation? Or if there is a code word, because maybe the two of you can have a conversation before any instances like that come up. And so now you're preventing. It's like, okay, so hey, can we come up with a code word? Because there are going to be times that you want to talk that I'm just not ready, and vice versa. Or I just don't want to deal with it in that moment. So is there a phrase or a code word or something that we can come up with? So if I say this, then you know exactly where I'm at. I was watching a reel the other day, and it was a relationship, and it was a black married couple, and their code word, if you will, she has a shirt that she puts on that says overstimulated. And anytime she wears this shirt, her husband gathers up the kids and basically allows her to have space without everybody being there. And she's just overstimulated, so she needs to calm down. Right. So he immediately sees the shirt, and I'm sure on social media it was a little bit exaggerated, but it was something like that. Like they have their code to say without having to say anything. He sees the shirt, he reads it, it literally says overstimulated. He gathers up the children and takes them in another room, and then he comes back and consoles her. So something like that. Right. Again, a code. Because there has to be some type of communication, and I don't think that we do enough when it comes to preventing things. We always react. So that's a healthy way to communicate without having to verse yourself in that way.
Right.
No, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. No, because I can see that now on the man side, because you mentioned that's a great example. Men are very internal, right? We don't voice our because it's kind of like we don't become very vulnerable, right? We see that as something like that's a threat.
Well,
to
I
us.
saw someone say if you compare it to crayons,
Right.
women use all 64 crayons in their box, and men have about 8.
Right,
that we
right,
use.
right, yeah, right. So our emotions, we don't wear our emotions on our sleeve, right? So it's going to one of the things is that just like I think I'll give a woman space. I think men tend to need that space too sometimes, right? Now, in terms of and how I should frame this question in terms of a man expressing his vulnerability, right? Would you say that women are actually, how to put it? Women, and we say it's kind of confusing for us because women want a man who is vulnerable and sensitive, right? They, they want that, but are they attracted to that?
So I think okay. So this is how I'm going to answer that question. Because we have split our families apart and our communities, if you will.
Right.
Back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
women specifically would go and talk to their family members, their parents, whatever, their cousins.
An elder.
And right.
Okay.
And so they had more guidance and places to go and share their emotional woes, if you will, right? And they were able to get all of these answers that they probably wouldn't be able to get from home, from their husband or from their man, right? And so I think that because a lot of that has been lost because we have moved away from our nuclear family. I think that a lot of people struggle, specifically the woman, because we want to be super emotional. We want you all engaged in every aspect.
Right.
And I think that we used to have those pockets. And so what I like to suggest is to find those pockets where you're at. So like your partner, specifically your man, is not going to be able to meet all of those needs. And for men as well, you're not going to be able to meet all of your woman's needs. So find your pocket. So if you like to jog and that's not your person's thing, go find a
But
jogging
that's an ego
group.
thing for us to give up on. Like we're not going to meet all our women's needs.
But I don't think it's possible to meet your partner's every need. I think that there is I think that you can meet most of them.
Right.
But I just don't believe that you can meet every single one of them. I think that there is a high percentage that you can, and of course trying to.
Right.
But there's going to be some disconnect there, just because that might not be your area, your strength.
Right.
You might be weak in the area that I need you to be strong in, per se. And so if I can't get it from you, I'm not talking about going outside and creating other, romantic relationships, but just those emotional relationships to a certain degree, because there's that as well. But getting what you need from your friends or your family or the elders, as I said, as William mentioned before.
So how does one, both sides, husband and wife, how do they become great spouses? What makes them a great spouse?
So I really believe a lot of it has to do with the safety that's the environment is created, and being able to literally be yourself with your partner, right? So I know that we talk about like respect, and we've talked about communication and emotional maturity and everything, and all of those things are just as important to creating a really great relationship or a good foundation within your relationship. But then there's also the little stuff that most of us don't think about, like being able to understand your partner's love language, and not the uncommon or unwritten love language is what I mean. It could be touch, right? But I really mean, like, for example, you drink coffee, right? And your partner went to go get herself a cup of coffee, but she knows that you like coffee with, I don't know, what is it, creamer, whatever the stuff is, right? So not only does she get you a cup of coffee, but she also does like the little stuff that she knows, what she puts in the little stuff that she knows that you like for your thing. Cups of sugar, whatever you said, creamer, all of the things. I don't drink coffee, so maybe I shouldn't use that example. But so just realizing the little things that your partner needs.
Right.
And there could be also maybe your partner is really playful, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not necessarily playful, but you give them the space to really be who they are. So they can just come to you, say whatever, do whatever. And obviously in a respectful manner and in the context. So now we're not talking about being rude or anything, but allowing them to see all of you, allowing them to see all of you, your flaws and all. I'm thinking about another reel. I guess I got a lot of reels, but I was watching another reel the other day where this woman was in the kitchen cooking,
Right.
and she wasn't washing the food. She was actually talking to their son, and she ended up burning the food. And she had an emotional meltdown. They didn't give the context of what happened, right? And so the son was kind of freaking out, and he called dad. You could hear him screaming dad in the video. Long story short, husband comes in. He didn't criticize her. He didn't make her feel bad. He didn't, why did you mess up that? He didn't do any of that stuff. You know what he actually did? He changed the environment by coming in. He snatched her up. He came in behind her and gave her a little hug. And then all of a sudden, he just started dancing with her. He started swing dancing with her. And, of course, she started laughing. So he changed the entire mood. He picked her up and did like a little dip. And it was really cute to watch because she was freaking out over this meal.
Right.
And he literally came in and changed the entire environment. And then the little boy came in like they were all hugging. It was a really sweet moment. But just like women can change the outcome or the environment, so can men. I think we just have to really pay attention to what's happening and stay away from criticizing so much because there are a lot of internal things that both parties don't say in the moment. We don't know what you dealt with all day, and vice versa. You don't know what we dealt with all day. And so a lot of times I think that we just jump into assuming or expecting for you to pick up on everything. And hopefully I answered your question. I feel like I went down a rabbit hole.
No, you did. Because so this is what you're saying to me, and tell me if I'm wrong. You're saying that in a relationship, you are consistently over time. Basically this. You'll never get to know the real person that you're with. You'll always be learning something new about that person.
Always be learning. That's the better way to say it. Yes.
So you'll always be learning something new about that person. Now, what I would say is this. I want to ask this. The expectations. How do you set the expectations for that? Because at the end of the day, the expectations on one side might be, hey, this person needs to actually know these things after a while, right? So would that be something where you would sit down and be like, hey, or sit down and have a dinner or whatever, or a time where you'll be like, hey, this is what I need. Because I always tell William is this: we all human beings, we all have three different lives we live. The lives people see, the lives we show people, and the lives nobody knows about. Right? Right. So in a relationship now, if that's going to be forever, it's very in determining and learning that person. Do you ever think we get to that point where the life that we don't want anybody to know about, we actually get to that? Do you see that happening where people get to that point?
So for me, that goes back to the safety and trust in their particular relationship. I think if they have it and I'm able to come share my most ugly part, if you will, behind the scenes person that I am with you, I should be able to do that at some point. I believe that at some point you should. I don't think that it happens right away because all of us are scared of being rejected or this thing is weird or why would you think or you're nasty, whatever the words are. And we don't want to be looked at that way. So I think that over time and building that trust and the consistency, as you mentioned, and the environment, right? Because so this is something that I know that men complain about. I don't coach men often, but I have coached some. And what I've heard the complaint from them is that they don't feel as safe sharing this portion of themselves. And it's based off of the experiences, or maybe they were testing the waters and they said something and it wasn't perceived well at all. And so then that part of them has now been shut down.
Okay, so being that you brought that up.
Uh-oh now.
If that's the case, on both sides.
Okay.
How does one express that to their partner, their spouse, like, listen, I'm trying to express more of who I am. There's something that I want to tell you, even if it means that it's something that their partner is doing that's bothering them or something like that, but not coming from a accusatory way, but just letting you know, like, hey, this is what's going on. If you're constantly getting that pushback, no, that's not me, no, I don't, like, how does one react from that? What does someone do from that standpoint? What could they do?
Oh, man, this one is a tough one because it's not a straightforward answer, and it's definitely not across the board because for the people that I'm thinking, the couples that I'm thinking that you're expressing this is married people.
Yeah, married couple.
Okay, so a lot of times when you're in your marriage, right, and you've already said I do, it's really tough to kind of reset the tone, the stage of the relationship. And a lot of times we get into our boxes and we don't like to change this stuff.
Okay.
So ideally, if we could talk about these things
Right.
before I do, that's the
Right.
best. I know that that's hard to do once you already
Right.
married because you still want to have
Right.
these conversations. And I think just trying to handle them with care, understanding that because we are constantly learning one another and we're growing in different ways and our thinking, and maybe I just want to try whatever the thing is. I think still being able to have the conversation is essential for the person that wants to try ABC, whatever. Even though it might not be received well or open to the idea.
At least I told you.
Well, it depends on what at least I told you is.
Well, I mean, not like, hey, I'm accusing you, but it's like you sit down, like, hey, I gotta express something that's on my mind, and the party who's listening has a barrier there, and I think what tends to happen is most men just don't, or even women, just don't say anything. They just don't say anything because it's like, well, if I tell this person, it will be put back in my face or rejected or put back what I'm not doing or whatever, and it's just gonna make the situation, I feel like, even worse. But if you don't say anything, then you're not giving that person a chance to even at least respond. And if you don't say anything, it's still gonna build up, or it's gonna come out sooner or later. But I guess trying to figure out how the best way to navigate that.
I think it's still trying to have the conversation with the person. Maybe there is a disclaimer before you go into whatever it is, because
We listen and we don't judge.
I was trying to think of that phrase. Because I actually think that we can learn a lot from
we
doing
do.
that.
Yeah, I know. But everybody has a little. But I mean, I get it. I get what that means when you say you're listening, you don't judge. But at the same time, too, you just have to be strong enough, I think, to understand or hear it out without response, right? But at the same, but I want to say but. And at the same, so at the same time, it is where we find that with men, it's really there has to be that level of trust, right? And I can't speak for him because I'm not. There has to be that level of trust for us to really, go in that deep part. Even come and express traumas that even happened in the past, right? Because as I said, it's kind of like we have to feel that that trust is at a level at like 120%, right? Before we even start expressing those deep parts of us that I think affects a lot of men, right? How would that? I mean, in terms of how have you seen people being able to get to that point? Because it almost seems like, oh wow, that's almost like unattainable for most human nature. Right, but how would you set? I mean, what do you see people actually being able to get to that point in their relationship, in their life, in terms of that?
I think the people that I've seen get to that point usually don't do it by themselves. They usually get some outside help. It could be coaching, could be therapy, could be a trusted elder or pastor, whatever. But I don't think that most people can go deep enough, or because okay, let me put it this way: when there's a third party in the room, we have a tendency to sit back and be a little bit more respectful because we want to have this persona that I
Right.
act a certain way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if a third party is in the room giving instruction, 9 times out of 10, even though you want to blow up, you have a tendency to at least sit there in a more respectful manner.
Right.
And so I think that not only does the outside help come into play, both parties have to be willing to be more open to changing and shifting the entire environment, because the relationship, if it's staying the same, it's if it's not growing, it's dying.
That's right. That's true.
If the relationship, and so if both
true.
of you are only willing to, this is me, you married me 20 years ago and you knew how I was and there is no change in there, it's dying already. And you're at that point, if they've decided to only do it their way, the relationship is pretty much at the end. And this might be a last ditch effort to try to bring you two back together.
Right.
So I think that not only outside help, it's that being open and trying to create a new environment for the marriage, for the partnership,
Right.
a new understanding, a new contract, if you will.
Right.
You think you see marriages tend to break up now because people feel that there's more options, or you think it's because people back in the day who stayed married just there was no other options. They just stayed in horrible relationships because that's what they were supposed to do.
Loaded question too. So I think that my opinion about this specific question is that I think most people go into the relationship without it being a till death do you part mindset. I'm going to figure this thing out. I want us to figure this thing out. How can we make this thing work and build our life? Right. And so I think that a lot of people go into it kind of nonchalant. Well, I mean, you know, all I got to do is get a divorce. If she don't work out, all I got to do is get a divorce. Right. And so they kind of have already given up before the relationship has even taken off the ground. And this is unpopular opinion for sure. This is why I don't even believe in signing a prenup. Yeah,
Ooh.
I know. Unpopular
Okay.
opinion. I said that. I did. I said that.
We want prenup. We want prenup.
We're going to have to dive deep on that one. On your beliefs now.
Yeah, I don't believe, because again, that's to me.
Right.
I believe that we are setting ourselves up to say, I know that this is going to end.
Well, I hear you on that. I think on the other part of it is sometimes you don't know what could change in your partner.
Mm-hmm.
So you may come in, hey, I gotta do this just in case something. Because my thing is, you never know what's going to happen in the relationship. You just never know.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, there's some things I'll be like, you know, we can't continue this no more. And I don't want you taking my stuff that I worked hard to gain and get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I think that's another thing that's preventing a lot of young men in wanting to get married is because they're afraid that if they go into something, if they get divorced, they get the short end of the stick. I'm just saying.
I mean, we're not talking about personal. We're talking about a social issue of what happens. Because as I say, it's like if we look at statistically, we can't look at just emotionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rates of divorce, the rates of actually even infidelity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mm-hmm. Even like all that, it's pretty high. You know, it's there.
It's like
you know,
50% or above.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
above.
So I mean,
On both?
do you want to give? I mean, I'm not saying like, and this is what I get. I kind of get where you're going when you're saying that you don't believe in a prenup, because I think that's something that a lot of people just don't discuss as a taboo.
Okay, what about a post-nup?
It's a taboo in relationships, right? So because our parents didn't have one,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But just keep in mind, laws and stuff was different back then,
They also stay more committed.
right?
into-
Yeah, no,
Did they?
so
Yeah.
yeah,
They stayed
so-
married much
So-
longer.
Just because they stay married don't mean that we're committed. Yeah, that we can go
No,
down that
Yeah,
rabbit hole.
no, you're right. No, you're right. No, you're right.
It's another show.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
That's
it's
true.
another show.
No,
Fine.
no, that's true. If we being honest, yeah, that is true. You know, some people there was just a level of I would say agreement. Now I considered that kind of like a prenup in itself. It was just unspoken,
Interesting. Okay.
right? Because we had, we had we saw the older generation. That I'm not everybody, so don't come at me. You know what I'm saying? The old generation, the families and stuff out there, and the as grandkids, we never knew about it until we grew up, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so
And they was 5 miles away.
yeah, I mean, right.
So again, the commitment didn't necessarily it
Right.
wasn't necessarily there.
Right. So it's kind of unspoken agreement, right? Now I would say things have changed, and we have the mindsets have changed. Freedom. There's more freedom where we find more women are like more independent. Because I believe it came with that type of mindset came with the fact that there was not, if he wasn't married back then, the chance of like really being survival and success was
Yes.
not
Right.
was kind of like low, right? So now it's kind of like we have women, the highest educated woman, a black woman. They have college, and there's a generation where we have the most educated woman that we've ever had, right? So that the mindset have changed, right? Now, would you say that now you say prenup? Now, are you talking about, say, let's switch the tables now? So if a woman actually is the one who is actually the biggest breadwinner in the family, right, and she's coming with all these assets, would you say there shouldn't be a prenup?
Yeah, for me, it's for both parties.
It's for both parties.
Yeah, it's not just for men.
Equal opportunity.
Equal
y'all.
opportunity. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I like that. I love that. I
Yeah,
love
no.
that.
All right, so I want to ask you some other questions. Okay, we've been talking about marriage a lot. But let's talk about for the single folks out there.
Okay.
What do you think what suggestions are you giving to help them find a partner?
Ooh.
Where are you telling them what to do, where to go, how to act? Like, what are tips you're giving them to, and I know you work with women, to catch a good man?
So it's not so much of where to go and how to act per se. So when I'm working with someone, I really work with them on themselves, because what I found is that a lot of successful black women, a lot of them have had self-esteem issues and confidence issues, and it's more about really pouring into her and building up her areas that she's weak in. So when she does go out there, she's not pretending to be confident. She actually is exuding the confidence.
Okay.
She's not performing, or out there competing without realizing that she's competing. So, for instance, he's saying, I have stocks. She's like, well, I don't care about your stocks. I got look at my portfolio. Or he's saying he has another house in a different country. Well, I got 2 houses. So she's not realizing that she's competing with them. So we try to scale that back, because I'm sure I'm in a room full of gentlemen. I'm sure as you guys know, you don't necessarily care about the assets that she's bringing to the table. You care about her and her personality, and she's nurturing, how she take care of the children and the home, etc.
Right.
So what I try to teach the women is the competition needs to die, because men don't care about, specifically when it comes to what you have. It's more of you, right? And so I try to teach them about the confidence, right?
Okay.
Right.
And again, stop pretending that you're confident. Stop pretending that you have it all. Stop pretending
Right.
that you don't need a man, right? And so we have a lot of peeling back the layers.
Okay. I mean,
Conversation.
No, that should be put out there, like that, because what you say, stop pretending.
Yeah.
Because the conversation is a little bit different. Because for me, it's kind of like, what I would say is like, how do they switch off the masculine of going after a career and stuff? Because that's the competition right there.
Absolutely.
Itself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you're saying it's okay, like, because now you're saying a split personality. Because for me, it's kind of like, how do you balance both, or is it even possible to have both of those? Like the career-driven woman with the masculine, you're right? Right.
Yes, I absolutely believe that she can have both. Most women don't realize that they can turn off their switch. And there's a study out there, I can't remember exactly who put it out there, but essentially, she can't just go from work to being the soft queen, right? There has to be a buffer in between for her to reset her energy. And it's some type of a routine or ritual, if you will, that she needs in between. So leaving work before she gets home, whether it's listening to some music in the car, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's affirmations, whatever the thing is that she needs, it has to be a reset for her to go from boss to her to go to babe. Because if she's going straight from career out the door, she still has all of that junk on her because she's thinking about the planning and, getting the numbers up and making sure this is correct and putting this team member in place. She has to get rid of a lot of that to reset herself before she can go and be soft and be vulnerable and dainty, if you will.
Right. Right.
So most people don't realize there's a buffer in between. It has to be pretty much a switch has to occur for her.
So what's been the response with that when you work with these ladies? Like, it is like, I didn't realize that, or is it I tried it and it's like not trying it, but I'm implementing it and it's like I see the positive impact.
So it's a little bit of both. So in the beginning, there is some pushback because, I'm the boss chick. I'm used to doing X, Y, and Z. I'm used to the control. What am I going to do? I'm not used to him being able to take care of. But it's not so much that she's not used to him taking care of or being able to do things. She's never given them the opportunity to. So as she's now trying, because it really is over time until she can rewire her brain and actually see the benefits of becoming more soft when she gets home. So in the beginning, there is some pushback, but once they really lean into trying and the suggestions, really lean into being softer and, being more vulnerable and relinquishing the control so she can actually be in the passenger seat instead of the driver's seat, then she's like, I actually do see the benefits. And then there's a continuation. And you can see, because if there's two masculine energies in the relationship, it's going to die off because now we got two bulls at each other's head.
Yeah.
So.
And it's natural for men, right? It's just natural for men to actually be that, have that masculine energy, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, yes,
Right.
it is.
Right.
But I want us to understand that both men and women have the masculine and feminine energies within them. It's just a matter of us realizing when to utilize these things. So in your relationship, 9 times out of 10, the woman has to have the feminine energy. However, right, there's a caveat there because there might be something, a specific area where he's not strong in, that she may need to utilize those masculine skills. But it's not the entirety of the relationship. There might be an area of two where she can do the control and everything. But coming in and only wanting to do all of the things
Right.
to make sure everything is on track. Side note, I also believe that this is why some of the women are frustrated in the relationships because they're not relinquishing and allowing their man to now step into the leader role. She's still the leader role because of her position at home. Again, going back to her not being able to understand that she needs to transition before she gets home.
So where does that come from? And on top of that, maybe it's 2-part questions, but where does that come from, that masculine energy to want to control things? And then 2 is, what's usually causing the thing that's making women feel unconfident?
Okay, so where's the masculine energy coming from?
Yeah,
Is that what you said?
yeah.
Okay, so I think that a lot of it has to layers. This one is layers, but I will say that men being taken out of the home for whatever reason, because there are a lot of reasons why men are not in the home, specifically black men, right? So the men not being there, her having to wear all of the hats to be all of the things, and then not feeling like she can be chosen. So I'm gonna get into the confidence in a minute, and then that leads into her becoming a bit depressed because she's not selected for. Because we already know that black women are the least on the totem pole of,
Right.
of selection and marriage and everything.
Right.
And so that plays a part in our psyche, which also leads to, side note, one of the reasons why we have so many degrees and stuff, because a lot of us are depressed. And so instead of me worrying about a man not wanting me, I'm going to go get the degree so I can get the bag.
Right.
Okay.
So that's where some of the confidence level is not coming from. And then there is the trying, because I'm wearing so many hats inside the home as well as outside the home, and now I got to put the children in there, the child or children. So I just got so many things that I have to take care of. Only way to get all of these things done is for me to wear my masculine hat. That's the only way to get those things done.
And it could be generational too, right? So you said it comes from not having well, I'll say single parent, right? So if that's what their experience, where say that woman experienced just not having a father figure in the household, most likely that's the way decisions are gonna be made. Now, how do you deal with that in terms of, because I mean everybody needs something to attach it to, like, okay, well, you can say, okay, well look back and see, because it's kind of like there's no book for us to be parents, right? We learn from what we saw and what we experienced, right? So how do you change that mindset when somebody all their life, that's all they saw and that's all they know is a woman having to balance, do the masculine and the feminine and balance that? How do you, and then now they're in a relationship, how do you deal with something like that?
So how do I coach them to like?
Right. How you coach them, like what's that transition like? You know, is it something that happens over time, or what? How would you tell that person, hey, you know, that's not normal. That's not the way things are, you know?
Okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly, this one is two parts. So what I recommend is some form of therapy, because some areas that she may be dealing with, specifically the trauma and stuff, that's not my area. So she has to go to somebody that can actually like close the gap. If it's open by me or by her therapist, I don't have the training to close it. Right. So a lot of my clients simultaneously work with me and a therapist, because the therapist is working on their past, their traumas, really getting them to understand who they are, right? And then I'm helping them to move forward and essentially gain the life that they want. So mine is more action-based. We take a lot of whatever it is that she wants, depending on the conversation, and we talk about what action or actions she can work on, that she could put into place.
Right.
So it's more of, she has to do some work to find a therapist. Right. I mean, really, that's where it starts. And then I come into play with the actions. Let's try this, because everything that we try is not going to work for her. Right. So it really is a continuous process of trying to figure out what is working for her. But she also has to be open to doing those things. So it's, again, sort of like a routine that I mentioned earlier, with her being able to turn off the masculinity and be more feminine when she gets home. But she has to be open to doing the work. Really has to be open to doing the work, because each time we do something over and over again, we're starting to rewire our synapses in our brain. Right? So now it's really continuing to put these things into practice. So it does become something that you don't even have to think about. Now it's innate in you.
So when it comes to the confidence part, what is it that you think is causing a lot of your clients to be unconfident? Is it the looks, or is it based upon a stereotype that they feel that people have about them?
I wouldn't say the looks per se. It definitely comes from stereotypes, for sure. In the higher power positions, not a lot of the people in the room look like you. So the code switching that actually happens because you feel like you have to hold back, because then you're looked at as the angry black woman. So a lot of it, without going down the whole road, a lot of it is coming from their career path that they chose and the environment that they're around for 8+ hours a day. And so whenever they're having a conversation in the room, it seems that they're either not taken seriously, right? It's pushed under the rug, or Johnny hears you say this very thing, and now Johnny spits it out, and it's the best idea. But if it was coming from me, it's like I said, pushed off to the side or not taken seriously.
Right.
So there's some of that bleeds over into their relationship, because now I'm the woman, right? And if my man is not hearing me because I'm the woman, that's an issue as well.
Okay. But you said black women are, numbers-wise, the least.
What
Desire.
selected for? Yeah, desire. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And why? But why do you think that is? Because I mean, I look at black women, I'm like, y'all beautiful, y'all.
When you say desire, are you talking about in terms of attractiveness, or are you talking about in terms of like competitive at a job or like at a career?
I'm talking about relationships, like
Relationships,
like
okay.
getting into relationship, getting married, and
Okay.
being chosen or whatever.
I think that it's not 100% coming from the woman per se. I think that a lot of it is the stereotype, and with society, and they've been trying to, and they've been a little bit more successful. What am I talking about? Breaking up the nuclear black family. And so if you have where you make our men look so much more beautiful and selected for them, they're having all of these choices from these different ethnicities, but on the other flip of that coin, you're saying that the black woman is so ugly, or she's so loud, and she doesn't respect her man. And so now society has pit us against each other.
Right.
And a lot of men have bit the cookie, because it's like, oh, I don't just have to be with a black woman.
Well, who gave us the cookie?
So this is society putting it out there to let white and Asian and Mexican and all these other ethnicities to see how beautiful you are, not realizing that you look just like your mama. So men look like their mama, but your blackness as a man is beautiful, but your mama's blackness and my blackness is ugly because I'm a woman. Does that even make sense?
No, it doesn't. Absolutely not.
That don't make sense. But just thinking about how society has always tried to break us apart, going back to slavery, right?
Right.
And so this is this is no different. It's
Yeah.
just another piece in how they're trying to do it. And so when we see, because I hear this, and I used to feel this way, not anymore. You like who you like, whatever. But when I used to see this, and plus hearing this from my coaching clients, when they see, so okay, let me put it this way. So I'm in this Facebook group, and they were having this conversation about this, and how a lot of black women were saying, how come black men don't want the black woman? And a lot of black men in there were saying, well, I don't know where y'all getting this from. But specifically here in San Diego, most couples that you look at don't look black and black. Most couples are the black man with an other. And it's not bad. You can like what you like, but don't try to make it seem like you're 100% for the black woman.
Don't pit them against.
But it happens. But it happens, right? And so I think that that's where a lot of it is coming from. And then when we get into the relationship, or the dating stage, I should say, before the relationship, some of what we talked about before, the emotion maturity, it's like you can't express yourself. You want to sit there and play video games all day. You want to text all day. You've never asked me out on a date. It's like a laundry list of things. So why do I have to put up with, or feel like I have to wait for you to get ready for me just to even ask me out on a date?
Right.
Like, you would rather just text, or maybe your thing is talking on the phone, but there's never let's meet out and go out on a proper date.
Right.
Right. And so I think that there's a lot of layers to this particular.
Yeah, that's a whole other discussion, because I mean, there's insecurity on both sides. I think when when you look at the race, and people are putting race before get to know somebody,
For sure,
so I think it's insecurity is both a man and a woman too.
Okay.
Now I have a question, because we only have a couple of moments. I have a question. So sustainability in a relationship, because I mean I'm in real estate, so one of the things that I see a lot is that, number one, to buy a home, we need right now, because of economics, you need two incomes. So you need two people working in a relationship. Basically, right? It's going to be rare where you'll find one income would be able, especially living in Southern California, but just California in general. Is it sustainable where you'll find? Because I mean, I see it, and then this is something that I see on social media where you'll find people in relationships where yes, there is the masculinity is the woman's role. She's the one, but it's okay if a man kind of steps back or falls back in a relationship. Is that sustainable? Because it looks like some people, it looks like that's a role that some people are comfortable with, or maybe it comes from past what they saw, but is that sustainable?
I don't think for most people that's going to be sustainable. There are a select few where the men don't mind being in the second seat, if you will, but
Right.
I don't think it's sustainable for most men. Most men, you guys were born the leader, literally. You were born to be the leader in the household and to take control and make the final decisions and all of these other things. And I think that it's okay for some, but for the majority of men, that's not a thing. Like even when you think about the finances, that's still a big thing in our community, and how a lot of men can't accept the fact that their woman is making a lot more money than them. So I don't think that that's sustainable, at least in our community, no.
Okay.
And I've actually heard this is one of not only the softer side that they get to see from other ethnicities more often than black women, but also they feel needed over there. Sometimes that need is financially as well. That they're not having to do that in the community with boss black women, if you will.
Oh, Marshawn, I just wish we had more time. I wish we had more time.
I'm opening up all of these.
Right.
But I will say you hit a lot of nuggets, and if someone wants to get more of these nuggets from you, how can they reach out to you? Where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram. It's Marshawn_O on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube at Marshawn Olanio, or my email, marshawn@marshawnOlanio.com.
All right. Yeah, she's on YouTube. She's got great videos on there. Occasionally, I send her. She has great content on her Instagram. Occasionally, I'll send her something like, "What you think about this?" Something Kevin Samuel said back in the day, or something. And you tend to give a lot of really good advice and feedback. And I like the fact that
it's real.
It's real. And I like
you.
the fact that you're able to see both sides of how things work in a relationship. And I think it's important to continue this conversation because, relationships are a driver in life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're bad at relationships in general, then most of the things you want in life aren't going to produce because you're bad at relationships, whether that's something personal or professional. So I think learning on how to build relationships and being someone that can people like being around and can grow with, I think is extremely important. And we need more people like you out there.
You know what? I highly agree, but not because it's me, but because I agree 1,000% what you said. Relationships are really the most important thing. And it's not just the relationship with your romantic partner. It's the relationship that you have with yourself. It's the relationship that you have with your child or children. It's the relationship that you have with even your coworkers or your employees. There are levels to the relationships, but if you can't have great relationships or at the very least good relationships, you're already losing in life anyway.
You're losing in life, y'all. All right, well, that's the end of our show. We'll see you guys same time, same place in a couple weeks. Until then, peace. We out.